Welcome to World Action and Reaction News. Please press subscribe button and press bell icon if you are new to the channel. Let's start news snapshot. Welcome all. Today onwards we will focus on all geopolitical news related to India as suggested by you all. We will capture all the geo or defense news that impact India, in which we cover all international and national news in snapshot. Hoping it will give you more wider picture related to India. With scrapping of single-engine fighter tender, SEF, by India recently, chances of India ever ordering an operating American-made fighter jet is fast fading away, even though both the countries are now closer to each other than they were ever been in the past. While India is likely to refloat MMRCA 2.0 tender soon, which will allow all previous participators of MMRCA tender back in the race, but it looks and feels like it is just mere formality made by Indian government to make ways to place further orders for Dassault Rafale fighter jet. An indirect offer of F-35 and fake reports of IAF being interested in American fifth-generation fighter aircraft in Indian media, which was rebuked recently by IAF chief, confirms that Lockheed Martin and Boeing are both nervous of their changes in securing Indian order. Indian and U.S. officials will jointly test the American-made M777 ultralight howitzer Monday after its muzzle broke during tests at a firing range in Pokhara 6 months ago, the Indian Express has learnt. The tests will be conducted in Pokhara by a Joint Investigation Committee, JIC, comprising U.S. and Indian officials. U.S. officials have blamed the accident on ammunition indigenously manufactured by the Ordnance Factories Board, OFB. The Indian side has denied the charge. India signed a deal in November 2016 with the US to procure 145 M777 ultralight howitzers for deployment on mountainous terrain in the northern and eastern borders. It was the first such induction of artillery guns since the Swedish Bofors guns in the late 1980s, which got embroiled in political controversy. As part of the Rs 5,070 crore deal, with delivery to be completed by 2021, 2 M777 guns were brought to India last May for field firing with Indian ammunition to compile firing tables that provide data such as range and elevation. Amid a global outcry over the Rohingya crisis, intelligence agencies have now warned of a conspiracy to settle down thousands of Rohingya in West Bengal's North 24 Parganas and South 24 Parganas districts respectively. Hundreds of thousands of Rohingya, a Muslim ethnic minority group, are fleeing persecution in Myanmar's western Rakhine state, fueling a historic migration crisis. According to a report sent to the Ministry of Home Affairs. Nearly 40,000 Rohingya, who are currently staying in various parts of the country, have been reportedly instructed to settle down in Trinamool Congress-ruled state. India's military is placed fourth on a global index that has ranked 133 countries on the basis of their global military prowess, trailing behind only the US, Russia and China in that order. India's western neighbour Pakistan ranks 13 on the Global Firepower, GFP, list 2017. India has managed to maintain its position among the top 5 military powers in the world on the GFP list, while Pakistan could break in the top 15 only last year. Major military powers, France, the UK, Japan, Turkey, and Germany, complete the top 10. Meanwhile, China also crept up behind Russia and is poised to take the second place soon. It has more aircraft and naval ships than Russia but is hugely outnumbered in total tanks in service. Indian embassy telephone lines have been spoofed by fraudsters in the US to cheat people for money, according to an advisory issued by Mission which warned against entertaining any suspicious calls. The Indian embassy in Washington has informed the US government about it and launched its own internal investigation. It also issued a rare public advisory on such fraud calls that has cheated people with money, thus bringing bad name to the diplomatic mission. These fraudsters either seek personal information like credit card details etc. or try to extort money from Indian nationals by inter alia claiming that there are errors in their passports, visa forms, immigration forms etc. which could be rectified by paying money, and at the same time warning that the so-called errors, if not rectified, could result in deportation of the individual to India or their imprisonment in USA, the Indian embassy said in its advisory. Some of the Indian nationals living in the US, who received such call, brought to the notice of the embassy that some fraudsters are spoofing Embassy of India telephone lines to make calls aimed at cheating people. Some of these calls are shown as being from the embassy telephone numbers while others simply use embassy identity. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi begins a rare two-day visit to Nepal on Monday, one that India, Nepal's giant southern neighbor, is keeping a close eye on. According to a statement from Pakistan's Foreign Office on Sunday. The visit is part of Pakistan's proactive and outreach efforts to engage regional countries. What is significant is that it is the first incoming visit since Nepal's new Prime Minister Kajia Prasad Sharma Oli took office in the middle of last month. The Pakistan Foreign Office statement described Nepal as an important, regional country and a close friend. Our ties with Nepal are characterized by cordiality, mutual respect, and commonality of interests. Our support to each other at bilateral and multilateral fora has remained indispensable for both the sides, the statement added. China will raise its defense budget by 8.1% in 2018, according to a budget report to be submitted to the national legislature on Monday, which is up from last year's 7%. The 2018 defense budget will be 1.11 trillion yuan, $175 billion. State-run Xinhua news agency quoted the official documents submitted to the National People's Congress. China last year increased the defense budget to $150.5 billion. China is the second largest spender on defense after the US. The defense budget of the U.S., which is the highest in the world, amounted to $602.80 billion. The increase of China's defense budget to 8.1% this year is 3 times higher than India's latest defense budget of about $52.5 billion. India and Russia are again going to sit together to talk how to move forward on the proposed joint development of fifth-generation fighter aircraft, FGFA, based on Sukhoi Su-57 during Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's upcoming visit to Moscow. Highlights of Sitharaman's visit to Russia will remain to seal final contract on the purchase of S400 interceptor-based missile system, but high-level officials from both sides will also talk on stalled FGFA program on the sidelines of her visit. In December 2010, India had agreed to pay $295 million Rs 1,897 crore, towards the preliminary design of the fighter, which is called in India as the Prospective Multi-Role Fighter. However, the negotiations faced various hurdles in the subsequent years. In February 2016, India and Russia revived talks on the project after a clearance from the then Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar. In the meantime, Russia has deputed two Sukhoi Su-57s to a base inside Syria to undergo testing under combat conditions. Media speculation on Su-57's Syria deployment is largely seen as Russian way to test it against Western technologies.